This is back by where I was yesterday. This is Leopard Street again, and that was where we were doing it. We'll talk some more about the Banales Celis thing. This played a role in what some believe was payoffs to the judge. Mauricio Celis, I never mentioned his case before, like in depth, and I kind of was not on his side, but Mauricio, he gave a lot of money to the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church in this community of Corpus Christi gives more charity and helps more people than anything else. Because when I listen to the Mass on Sunday and also attend the cathedral, but when you listen, it says how much they give every hour, in total. Many of those benefits is because we have a wonderful Catholic hospital system here. I grew up in New Jersey, and I'm Italian. That homeless brother I picked up in San Antonio to give him a ride back, and I was dressed in black. Today I got jeans. And I told him I'm from New Jersey, only some accent. And right away he kind of said, "Oh, like you're a mafia." I said, "No, I'm Italian." But it reminds me a lot of, I walked in John Gotti's neighborhood a few years ago because I went to Far Rockaway. A lot of people, the history of like criminal mafia or whatever, they also gave a lot of money to the church. Okay. Mauricio Celis, his case it's been ongoing for a while, and I should re-mention it because I talked about the lead prosecutor in that particular case. Celis had like 5 counts against him. One of the big things was they said he was putting himself out as a lawyer because he has somewhat of a law firm here that brings in a lot of money, $10 million or something. So he was operating here in Corpus Christi, and I guess it's okay to have a law firm unless you put yourself out as a lawyer. So I'm assuming some of the other lawyers here saw that maybe he was like doing things connected. His connection happens to be Judge Manuel Banales. One of the cases on the defensor, but he said like there's payoffs and all that. That's what they were saying. Well, Celis was charged, sure enough, with that, putting himself as a lawyer, money laundering, a lot of charges. And as I read that case, it was before the court now for years. But he also donated a lot to the Catholic Church, and that's what made me, kind of be on his side. But the lead investigator, I mentioned this the other day, just said he was going to plead the 5th before Judge Guy Williams in that particular case. He might be pleading the 5th because he realizes at this point, if there's criminality, corruption, and some said that Banales has all types of connections in this community that are criminal. Maybe that's why they said, like mafia cases in New York City, sometimes witnesses don't testify. All right, so the Celis case has come up for that particular reason, that the lead investigator, right down the block, that's the courthouse over that way. All right. Banales, I mentioned, Carlos Valdez, a former district attorney, did, which as far as I know, he was not a corrupt man, Carlos Valdez. He was a DA here for many years. But he did something very out of the ordinary years ago. Particularly, he felt Banales possibly was taking payoffs. Now, this didn't come, the defensor, that's what they say, that Banales is involved in payoffs and all types of money and cash and all. That's what the defensor article said. But sure enough, Carlos Valdez, this was a news article I read, he tried to remove Manuel Banales from that case because for some reason Banales showed a lot of favoritism towards Celis, and all the local politicos thought it was just cash money, which of course is criminal. Like if you got busted, one report said they already had the handcuffs on Judge Banales, and then they took the cuffs off on the solicitation thing. Whether that was reported in one of those articles. All right. Many of you would say all of these are just hearsay, and I understand that, but I'll tell you that wreck that happened down there, that's not hearsay. You know there's some type of connections that showed favoritism. So you had a DA who did indeed feel like there was something illegal going on, and he wanted to remove Banales, and Banales did some legal maneuvering. Well, then the people that in that particular article, it said the reporter that was trying to cover that story, they were all afraid to speak. It's such a disgrace. And I know Ms. Watts and Ms. Metairie are highly praising Mr. Banales. Why they would do that with this history. Now, I'll vouch for the cases I'm familiar with, where there was police abuse, things of that nature. Those were real cases. Those were not hearsay. Those were real cases. Because of the time, a particular cop wanted me to not mention those anymore, things like that. And I never did it out of spite. I did it out of realizing if you want a system to function, you don't operate that way. So the Celis case, which now, like I said, is still going on. And there was a hot tub incident. I won't do it. It's probably an embarrassing thing. I mean, it wasn't. But then he showed his badge, they said, pretending to be like an officer or lawyer or whatever. And that was also one of the other charges. But they feel like some of the others that spoke on Banales and Celis, they said like there's a lot of money going in, and sure enough they had a money laundering. And it's obvious that Mr. Banales is connected with Celis. That's an open thing. So this is just number 2. But this is not all hearsay. And when you say, but we have a system, John, look, one of my friends who's not here anymore, he's out of town. But he told me he gave me the name. It was a surprise to them because there's a judge that just buys openly meth. And the reason my friend told me, he said, John, it's the people that are involved in that, and it's, drug addiction's a problem. You'll never shut every meth house or crack house down. I mean, we understand that. But it was like he just does it openly, this judge. And I believed him because it was the same name that was given by Patriot Dad. It's not Banales, but Patriot Dad actually said the same thing. And I thought, I guess you could even have it on video, because what I'm showing you is, say if they caught a judge, the solicitor, or any other thing. If the system says, oh no, he's one of us, or if the system says, we take money and we'll drop a certain thing, then you don't have the chain of evidence. You don't have any of that. I think the other lady judges are just unaware of what goes on. They might not be truly aware. I'll try to be somewhat fair to them. But there would be enough that you could just look in the record, just in the various things I mentioned. So I know that this is not hearsay. And when I first read Patriot Dad saying that he has connections, and it wasn't just, there was another person I knew that they have a property that's rented also by that same judge, and there's open drug use in that particular house, which is very close to the courthouse. So that was, I guess it's just known. But what Patriot Dad mentioned was, if you read that post I put yesterday, he said it is known that they have a rehabilitation program for judges that have drug addiction, just like alcohol. I'm not against that. But he said, but you got to ask, if you know there's judges on the bench that maybe have a drug problem or alcohol problem, it's different if you know they have a drug problem, because if someone has an alcohol problem, it's not actually illegal for them to purchase the alcohol. But how you could have judges on the bench that are known that, yes, they might have a drug problem, that means they're regularly purchasing drugs, breaking the law. And that particular judge, that's his court. My other friend, by the way, I went and vouched for him a few years ago in the court because he had to go before that judge, a friend that had a drug problem. His name is Cameron. I can just say that at this point. Cameron had had long probation, had drug problem, and I went one day. We went before that judge, and they were nice. They said, "Okay, we'll extend it." The even officer of the court walked up to me and said, "Then why are you here?" I said, "Well, I do ministry and I'm helping my friend, who's Cameron Miller." And I said I was here maybe to vouch for him. I did the same thing in the same court for Penny. When Penny, had to go before the court, and then she was going to go into Charlie's. I tried to help my friends. I've helped them. I've taken them to drug rehab. And I wouldn't condemn a judge if he's got a drug problem. But what Patriot Dad brought out was that's kind of a known thing. They post it on the lawyer sides, the judge side. But that means they're breaking the law to get the substance. So I guess it's known. But how could you arrest and even have a court? This is what's going on here. Something.